Welcome back. Let's take a look at this market picture now, and it certainly has been a bit of a positive tilt then for the Asian market, with only the Nikkei going down, but only marginally. 0.4% higher then for the Shanghai Composite, as that was the biggest gainer across that majority of the market in Asia. Pretty much a similar picture then as well, with a predominantly positive picture out in Europe, but the FTSE 100 out in London not enjoying good numbers there. 1.2% weaker on that front, 0.5% down for the DAX, and pretty much the same picture as well for the CAC 40, sitting down more than 20 points higher as well then today. Over to the local front, following yesterday's decline, we are back up 1.5% then, 56,358 points. A good gain and good numbers then for the resource counters, as we see both gold miners and platinum miners head in the positive direction. 2.5% to the good then for the gold mining shares, more than 1% up as well for platinum. Resources 2.3% to the good. Also financials overall enjoying some good numbers. Banks going up there to 5,059 points, so it has been good overall on that front. The general sense of positivity seems to be returning to that market picture, with even the South African listed property going up 0.2%. Yes, marginal, but certainly still painting a bright spark there. 1.33% to the good as well for the industrials. Following a good picture out in Shanghai, you're bound to find that industrials would fare well as well. Over onto the certain companies that have gone higher today. Pick n Pay has gone up 6.97 or 7% or so today, so a good number for them. Cartrack also enjoying some good numbers, 6.4% to the good. RDI also 5.6% higher there. Italtal not having a good day though. That's at around 12 Rand a share. That's at 9% weaker this afternoon. Lewis also unfortunately getting a hammering there, 6% weaker, 4.3% down then for Steinhoff as well. Over to the commodities board, 1.25% higher than for Brent crude. Still sits above that $45 a barrel mark then. Quite interestingly enough, we saw it go down a little bit yesterday, as perhaps a few more concerns around just the recovery in global demand still begin to weigh in on this market picture. 2.4% up then for platinum, so it seems that some demand returning to the market, albeit very softly, and gold continues its way back to that $2,000 a fine ounce mark. It's almost 1% to the good this afternoon. Strength then for the local currency, but it's only just 16 Rand and 67 cents for a US dollar. It's just under 19 Rand for a euro, and the pound sterling setting you back 22 Rand 44. An improvement for the local currency across the board on that front, having seen politics overtake this a little bit and unfortunately hamper any sort of positivity then for the local index. Let's chat then to Sean Morrison from IG South Africa as we get to unpack this market picture. Sean, thank you so much for the time. So the fight between the US and China perhaps simmering down a touch, and more focus then on the economic data coming out of Asia, the likes of PMI, should I say, as well. The services sector growing, factory output as well, getting a bit of a better stint. So would we be able to say perhaps a recovery is in order, albeit very slowly?
Well, certainly a recovery in Chinese demand. The Chinese PMI numbers, I think they're decade highs. So obviously off a low base, but definitely improvement in China. Obviously China being the primary consumer of resource. So that was a good picture. Yesterday, obviously we were down quite a bit. Now today we're looking like we're up. So I'd still be cautious of this current market. What we're seeing in the US, is that gains are starting to, this is a bit of a momentum play. We reaching new highs on the S&P and the Nasdaq, but these markets are now moving on relatively low volume. And while that's not a signal to bet against the uptrend, it is certainly a caution that, well, maybe we are starting to get closer towards a pullback or just even a small correction in the markets, despite today's gains.
Yeah. Let's start off in the commodity market then. Gold seems to be on the move back towards that $2,000 a fine ounce mark.
Yeah, gold's looking good. We have a little technical pattern there. I don't know if you look at charts much, but we call it a breakout, a triangle breakout. So it's continuing its uptrend after just a slight pause in that uptrend. At the moment, that short-term momentum is being driven by that softer dollar, which is helping the precious metal prices at the moment. Our upside target in the short term is back to about 2010. And then if we can get through that level, then a retest of the highs at about $2,070 per fine ounce.
Yeah, that price has certainly helped the likes of DRD Gold, who came out with their earnings today. We get to chat to the CEO. My colleague Nompumelelo Siziba will be doing that a little bit later on. But it certainly has helped that company's earnings picture.
Yeah, well, I think not just DRD. I think if you look at the gold miners, they've been the outperforming sector in the market, in our domestic market this year. Relatively weak rand if you look at years gone by, and this gold trading to record highs certainly helped that earnings. The earnings with DRD, very good set of results. 400% increase in operating profit. 7-fold increase in headline earnings. Those are good figures. And I think long may it continue. Bear in mind it is 12-month results, so it would have only a few months of impact from the COVID pandemic, obviously from March. I think that financial year ends in June. But DRD certainly showing that they can recover quite quickly from that. They benefit from I think lower cost mines. They use surface-based mining, quite a bit of automation. So their disruption is on a relative basis probably less than what you see with a number of their peers, which more costly, deeper mines that they are working.
All right, in the finance space, we also got Old Mutual coming out with a set of earnings there. They seem to believe that things can turn around. It won't be as bad as this for the longest time. And of course, claims and people taking out more life insurance policies certainly dipping down a little bit.
Yeah, so the finance industry has been under pressure over this time. I think the real problem there is, over this sort of lockdown period, and where our economy is quite tight, new business has been notably underperforming. I think they had an 85% drop in new business value over that period. And that's equated to a 66% drop in headline earnings, which is a substantial decline. But it's not, when we look at even the banks and that, this is not uncommon to see, unfortunately, in the current market environment. And I think staying true to what we're seeing is companies are now looking at retaining earnings. They're withholding dividends. Old Mutual is one of them that didn't declare an interim dividend for this period, and it's really just because of the uncertainty that still exists within that marketplace.
All right. Also, we do have the rand strengthening. It's now nearly 2% stronger than it was yet at close at midnight or so. Is that something we can look forward to a little bit more, or will it again perhaps weaken? Is this our own fundamentals, or is this just that softer dollar?
Look, I think the primary catalyst is the softer dollar, which is helping gains in the short-term gains in the rand. I'm still of the view that we're trading in a broad range. That range sees support at around 16.40 Rand to the dollar. And then the resistance of that range, so the top end is about 17.80 Rand. So to me, at the moment, we're moving towards the lower end of that range. So I do see, possibly a little bit more strength to come. And while we've seen that dollar weakening to aid that, we also do have, I think, some domestic catalysts. I think outcomes from the NEC meetings and that have perhaps caused a bit of domestic reason for strength. We have the NEC endorsing Ramaphosa's anti-corruption action points, and we are seeing that cadres who have charges of corruption being asked to step down from office. So I think there is some indication that there is some action being taken, and it is being supported, and perhaps just maybe a hope that there's less factionalism in the ANC right now, and we can get on with business.
Yeah, we'll see how things fare on that front. I mean, it just continues to swing one way or the other. Now it seems that support in the ANC's NEC certainly did come to the fore, but how long that will last, will certainly be the question top of mind. Sean, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Sean Morrison is from IG South Africa there, joining us to unpack this market picture. All right, then we close things off here at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. I'll be back again tomorrow at around 1 p.m. to give you a continued update of this market picture. My colleague Nompumelelo Siziba does join you then as well right after the short ad break. Nompu, we do have DRD Gold's earnings. What a surprise picture there, but I suppose the rise in the gold price certainly helping on that front.
Thanks very much. Yes, Arabile, DRD Gold doing a sterling job in terms of its results, and pretty much other gold counters having done nicely as well. Thank you very much, due to the gold price and of course the weaker rand exchange rate benefiting them on translation because they sell the commodity in dollars. So it's been a fantastic time for them, and I suspect that the gold industry is going to continue to benefit from the uncertainty in the world. Of course, when investors are fearful, they climb into the likes of gold. So of course I will be speaking to the CEO of DRD, Neil Pretorius, in a short while. So we'll hear from him what he thinks. Thanks very much, Arabila. All right, we're going to go for a quick break.
We'll chat then in just a moment or two then, of course. From me, though, that is where I leave it. Me and the team saying goodbye here at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. That's where the buck stops.